So according to my last class that I've done, I end up I left off where Moses ended up going to Egypt, right? And I told y'all that I was gonna do the class with Moses going to Egypt, which I'm about to do now. So Moses ended up going to Egypt, right? From the Bible, right? They say he left Egypt after he killed the man and went straight to meet with Jethro, which is his father-in-law of his wife Zechariah. So we understand that about Moses, right? We got that. Now, what I want to tell you is, before Moses went to meet with Jethro, Moses was somewhere else. And that's where we're going to get into the book of Jasher, right? So a lot of y'all ask, what is Jasher? Jasher is the book of upright. This is what Jasher is. So when you're dealing with Jasher, Jasher is a book of upright, meaning righteous. The Bible speaks of Jasher. So when you want to go, and let's do this here. That's Esau. So we deal with Jasher. Because I want to get to it, because I just tweaked out, but it's cool. I'm going to do something else. Make sure I'm still alive. Because I just did all that, and I wasn't even alive. So let's go to Jasher. What is Jasher? Actually, let's go straight to Joshua. So if we go to Joshua, right? Chapter 10 and 13. Can y'all see that? Hold on. Can y'all see that? Okay. Making sure y'all can see it. I can see it, but can y'all see it? Let's see something. Gotta go back to Eastward. Okay, here we go. So now we dealing with this here. We're gonna deal with the book of Joshua, right? So I want to get into Joshua 10 and 13, just so we can have an understanding. And the sun stood still. You with me? And the sun stood still. And the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? Right? Again, the book of Jasher. Right? Let's go to Samuel 1:18. I'm just showing you that the book that I'm going into is referred by the Bible. Is that 2 Samuel? Sorry about that. So let's go into 2 Samuel 1:18. Also, he bade them to teach the children of Judah, right? Judah, us, the black people, Judites, the black African American man in America is Judah. The use of the bow, behold, is it written in the book of Jasher. Again, the book of Jasher. All right, I got the book of Jasher. So, when I did my other class a couple of days ago, I left out with Moses going into Egypt. So we know Moses went into Egypt. He just killed somebody, an Egyptian man. Pharaoh on his head. But I want to kind of back up a little bit because Jasher have more details that I'm going to, give y'all right now. But we're going to start with Jasher, and I'm just going to read straight from the book, and I'll explain to you all as we go back. Again, I'm on several platforms, so I need y'all to just bear with me. I'm on several platforms. I'm going to start with 33. And I'm going to run through it because, again, got other things to do. I was supposed to do 2 classes, and I did not. It's going to be 1 class today, and it's going to be a good class. And so we're going to do this. For those who have an ear, let them hear. So now we're in the book of Joshua. I want to try to get into some of the things that the Bible don't teach you that you'll have to find in the other book, Joshua. So now we with Moses here in Egypt. Moses is still prince. He's still prince of Egypt. He haven't met God yet. He don't know God's name. He know about all the idols that's up in Egypt. That's what Moses know at this time frame. So let's do it like this. Let's start with 33. And when Moses grew up in the king's house, Bethuel, the daughter of Pharaoh, considered him as a son, and all the household of Pharaoh honored him, and all the men of Egypt was afraid of Moses, right? And he daily went forth and came into the land of Goshen, where his brother and his children Israel were. Moses saw them daily in shortness of breath and labor. So every time when he went to Goshen, remember when God put the plague on Egypt, Goshen didn't get it. Only Egypt got it. So while the water was blood, the frogs there, the locusts, they was in Goshen, they was cool. That land was good. All right. So Moses went there, he see his people, they tired, hungry, out of breath, weak. So Moses decided to do something. Again, certain stories they're not going to give you in the Bible that I'm just going to give you. Anybody say something? Leave it in the comments. I'll double back. All right, let's go with it. And Moses asked them, saying, wherefore is this labor meted and unto you day by day? And they told him that all befallen them, and all the injunctions which Pharaoh had put upon them before his birth. So what they doing is, what they saying is like, now Moses don't understand that before I was born, this was already before us. So it's just like you was born into something. Just like you celebrate Christmas right now when you shouldn't be. You're celebrating Halloween, Easter. It's something you was born into. It's a tradition. So we carry on that tradition. So that's kind of, where he kind of going with it, Moses. In this tradition, he's saying this is tradition before you was born. This is how it was. So, and they told him all the counsel which Balaam, the son of Beor, had counseled against them, and what he had also counseled against him in order to slay him when he had taken the king's crown from off his head. What do you mean take the king's crown from off his head? If you ever take the crown off a king's head, you are dead or you're unalive. A woman might can do that. But a man is not to touch the crown of a king's head. It's like you're removing his kingship. When Moses was a baby, Moses took the crown off the king's head and put it on his. And so what they decided to do, because the king didn't know was it deliberately, he already had the wise man saying, you need to kill this child because he had to throne you. He's going to take over Egypt. So what they did, they took a hot coal and a bottle, I believe, and they put it there, and they want to see, was Moses smart enough to choose the bottle over the coal? Because if so, then we need to kill him now. The angels guiding him, and this is a promised child. So what ended up happening was Moses ended up grabbing the hot coal, and when he ate it, it burnt his tongue. That's why Moses stuttered a lot. That's why when Moses told God, I can't speak for you, he said, I get Aaron to speak for you, because Moses always stuttered. And that was done deliberately. So they telling Moses that, yeah, when you was young, the magician Balaam, he told Pharaoh to kill you, to what will become of you, you know. And so now at this point, you know, at this point, Moses is mad and he want to seek to kill this guy Balaam, which is, but Balaam, if you ever seen the movies, the Ten Commandments, right? Balaam is the magician. When Moses went in there and said, "Let my people go," and he threw his stick on the ground, his rod, and the magician threw his rod on the ground, and they both turned to snakes. That's who Balaam is. Balaam is the magicians. And when Moses picked his rod up, Moses' rod ate their snake. Moses, his rod was a snake. It ate the other two snakes, right? That's who Balaam is. So right now, Balaam is in Egypt. And this is before Moses came back to say, "Let my people go." Balaam right now is in Egypt. And and Moses hasn't left yet. So this is before all that took place, right? Now, so now Moses want to put hands and feet on Balaam right now. He wants to put hands and feet on him. Let me see, I can't read that. Okay. Let me just get through it. And when Moses heard these things, his anger was kindled against Balaam, and he sought to kill him, and he was in ambush for him day by day. In other words, Moses in a cut. Like, where buddy at? Well, you know, Moses looking to get this dude. And he know that Moses on this hill, and what could he really do? Moses is the prince of Egypt right now. He's living in a king's house with favor. So that's where we at as we speak, as far as Balaam. And Balaam was afraid of Moses, and he and his two sons rose up and went forth from Egypt, and they fled and delivered their souls and betook themselves to the land of Cush, to Cacanias, king of Cush. Cacanias is an African king of Cush. Who is Cush? Cush is the son of Ham, right? Cush is the son of Ham. Canaan is the son of Ham. Canaan is the cursed seed, but Cush is the son of Ham. Cush, the Cushites. And Moses was in the king's house, going out and coming in. The Lord gave him favor in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of the servant, and in the eyes of all the people of Egypt. They love Moses exceedingly. So when they say God gave Moses favor, remember when God gave a lot of people favor. Let's start with Abraham. When Abraham went into Egypt, when there was no food, and what they done is anytime you go into Egypt, if your wife beautiful, if she fair, they will take your wife and kill you. So you dead. That's how they worked out in Egypt. They will kill you and take your wife. This was normal practice, right? And so when Abraham went to Egypt, Abraham told his wife Sarai at the time, Sarai, he said, Moses say, when we get here, tell them you is my sister, because if not, they'll kill me. So when they came, even in today in America, like, or if you go somewhere, right, and if you see somebody new in the neighborhood that just moved in the neighborhood, you'll know who these people is. And remember, it's way at this time, because back then they had a real small town. You'll have a house here, and the next house be right here. And that's a little gangway to where you can walk. Everybody knew everybody. That's why when they went to go kick in doors and everything was done, they go pillage your land, everything was pretty much right there. They could burn your whole city in 10 minutes and take all your spoils, and you know, they could surround the whole land. It wasn't done as it is today in the modern world. But however, God gave favor to Abraham. So what God did, anybody that would sleep with Sarah outside Abraham will catch leprosy. Leprosy is equivalent of cancer today, stage 4. If you think about touching this woman is strictly for Abraham. Nobody else can touch Sarah outside Abraham. And what man don't want a woman that, I don't care what you do, anybody you sleep with, they're gonna die. God gave that to Abraham. Nobody else got that. If you got something, put it in the comments. Nobody else got that. So Pharaoh he took Sarah or Sarai at the time, and what he did, he put Abraham in the best part of Egypt. So Abraham cool. He eating, he got nice housing, but when Pharaoh went to bed, he kept getting these dreams. And every time he tried to touch Sarah, an angel, you know what I'm saying, something happened. He like, man, what's going on? Shorty cursed. So what ended up happening was an angel came to him in a dream and say, hey, you a dead man. And he like, what you mean? He say, oh girl, you got over there, that's Buddy's wife. What you mean? He said, that's his sister. No, no, that's his wife. You need to turn her over back to Buddy. And so when he woke up, because now the whole town, the whole Egypt got plagues going on. The whole Egypt is in plague. So now what's going on? He say, call Abraham to the forefront, like, hey, bro, what up with you? You said this your sister. Now I got dreams of, I got dreams of angels talking about I'm dead. I got boils all on my body. The people in Egypt is suffering on your behalf. Why you do that? He said, man, if I told you who she was, you would have killed me and took her anyway. So they said, no, we ain't doing that. You got to get up out of Egypt. So he gave Abraham, and this is how Abraham became exceedingly rich. He gave Abraham things like gold, cattle, servants. That's where Hagar came in at. So now you got Hagar, who was given from Pharaoh to Sarai. Now, he got Hagar, he went back to his land. So now he's in his land, and God sent an angel, the three angels, when you read about it in the book of Genesis, he sent the angels and tell Abraham, you're going to have a child, and it will be as many, your descendants will be as the sand of the sea or the stars in the sky. And Abraham, like, I'm 100, my wife 90. But in doing this, remember, he has Hagar. Now, Sarah is barren. Barren means you can't have no children. So Sarah can't have no children. So what ended up happening was Sarah gave Abraham Hagar. Moses had sex with, I keep saying Moses. Abraham had sex with Hagar and born Ishmael. Who is Ishmael? Ishmael is the king of the Muslims, the Arabs. That's Abraham's first son, which he thought was going to have the throne. And God said, no, we ain't doing that. Your wife is going to have the promised seed. That's what's called the promised seed. And Abraham said, well, look, man, my son 12. I told him everything. He a good kid. Give it to him. God said, bro, did you just hear what I told you, bro? Your wife is going to have that. You're not going to get some runner from Egypt. And, you know, and not only that, she's not even the bloodline. You got to be from the bloodline of Israel. She's an Egyptian, a Cushite maybe. You can't establish you can't establish kingship through a Cushite. You know what I mean? Through a Hamite. Remember, Ham is not the cursed seed, just Ham's son Canaan. And that's because when Ham looked at Noah, when Noah was naked, when they came out the boat and Noah was drinking, he said, cursed be Canaan. Right? Understand that. So I'm at the point to where I say God showed favor to Moses. And I'm just showing you that God showed favor to Abraham also. He also showed favor to Joseph. What happened with Joseph? When his brother sold Joseph to Egypt, right? And he went to Potiphar's house. And Potiphar's wife tried to sleep with Joseph, and Joseph wouldn't sleep with Potiphar's wife. So what ended up happening? She ended up telling Potiphar, hey, he tried to rape me. And so they threw Joseph in jail. Now, when Joseph is in jail, what happened with Joseph? You know what I'm saying? The guards that run the jail also gave Joseph privilege. So now not only he's in jail, he in jail doing this thing. He get extra food. He get to leave his cell. So wherever he go, it's favor on Joseph. Now, the king is having dreams, saying, I'm getting these strange dreams. What's going on? So what ended up happening is, now with these dreams that the king having, it was a chef and a butler. Chef and the butler was in jail. And he said, you know what? I remember this dude. He was telling everybody their dreams. And everything he said came true. Maybe Buddy can help you with your dream. So they called Joseph there. And Joseph told him, look, your dream, the two dreams you have is one dream. 7 years, you'll be able to have food. And another 7 years, there will be no food in the land. So what do we need to do? You need to stack your food. because it's coming. So it's called the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. That's how Joseph became king. Now the book do give you no more details, but all I'm speaking of is the favor that God showed not only to Moses, but to Joseph also. Who else did he show favor to? Did he show favor to Jacob? Yes. How did he show his favor to Jacob? When Jacob went and left, because Esau, Jacob's brother, claimed that Jacob stole the blessing and the birthrights. Esau wanted to kill him. So the mama Rebecca said, go to my brother's house, Laban, and let your brother cool off. Then you double back. So when Jacob went to Egypt, not Egypt, he went to Laban's house, he wanted his daughter Rachel. Now, Rachel had a twin sister, Leah. And as long as Jacob was in that house, the house, you know, they had a lot of cattle, the grain, everything was good as long as Jacob was in that house. Now, Jacob wanted to marry Leah. Jacob wanted to marry Rachel, and instead, he was given Leah, because back then, you had to get rid of the first. You know, that's why if you have a son, your son become king. He take over your throne. Outside that, outside the throne, if you have a daughter, she had to marry first. It was things that the way it was done. You can be, your daughter can be 30 years old, and your youngest daughter can be 18. She 12 years younger. So let's get the first one out first. So what happened was, you had to work for a wife in Egypt. It's not like America today. You can't be like, hey, shorty decent, y'all want to get up with shorty. It don't work like that. Back then, in Egypt and anywhere, you had to work for a wife. What's the price for a wife? 7 years labor. That's why when you do things like bankruptcy and, you know, it takes 7 years for your credit to get back right. You need 7 years if you want to marry my daughter. Jacob gave them 7 years. Jacob gave Laban 7 years. What Laban do? Sneak his daughter, Leah, there when he didn't want Leah. He wanted Rachel. And he said, you know, now keep in mind, they twins. They twins, Leah and Rachel. But you know how you got twins and you can just tell one of them is cuter than the other. I think Leah had like a lazy eye, something like that. But Rachel was beautiful. So he worked the 7 years and he slipped on Leah. And he like, bro, what? See, back then, when you do a wedding, you'll do a wedding. You know what I'm saying? You have a party, do this and do that. After the wedding, you got to go in the back room. You got to get busy. Then you got to bring the white cloth, you know, to the father to show that the daughter that I'm giving you is a virgin. That's how it was done back then. That's why when people get married today, what do? They go out to Hollywood or they'll go to the Bahamas. They'll do a honeymoon. But originally, traditionally, if you get married, you know what I'm saying, it's supposed to be a celebration as two families come together. After all this dancing, you got to go in the back and you got to get busy with your wife. And you got to bring a white cloth with blood saying that I'm the first man that broke her virginity. If don't no blood come off that handkerchief, that cloth, you're a dead woman. That's why the Christ story, when, you know, Joseph had already been having sex with Mary. That's a whole nother story I'll get to later. But yeah, my daughter that I'm giving you, she's a fresh virgin, you know, and no man had ever slept with her. So Laban slept Leah in there. Now, when he slept Leah in there, Jacob like, no, bro, no, I wanted your daughter. He said, well, this is tradition, bro. You don't break no tradition over here. But I tell you what, give me 7 more years of labor and you can have my daughter Rachel. Now, you can take her now, but you still owe 7 years. So he didn't have to work another 7 years before he laid with her. He got both of them. So he in one room with Leah. The next day he in there with Rachel. I'm talking about, man, getting busy. He got 2 wives, 12 kids. And through that is the 12 tribes of Israel. And from there, that's where all people disperse as far as with the Israelites. Now, remember, you still got Esau. Esau, Genesis 25 and 24, is the first white man in the Bible, right? And again, Esau went, as I said, Hagar, Ishmael. Now he got, you know, some descendants that Esau went and married the daughter of Cush, then which is the Hamites, and he also married the Ishmaelites, and that's where we getting all these different people in the world from. Before then, it was only one color, this color. Now, I said all that to say that God showed favor also to Abraham, Joseph, and we know Joseph became king. Everybody know that. So Abraham, Joseph, Jacob, and now I'm in Moses. Now I'm dealing with Moses. So when they say that God showed Moses favor, he did show Moses favor. God had his pits that he know what going to become of these people. And so he showed Moses favor. Now, let's get it. Let's start back. And Moses was in the king's house going out and coming in. The Lord gave him favor in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants and in the eyes of the people of Egypt. And they loved Moses exceedingly. So that's why I went over that so I can explain to you, like, you know, it ain't just Moses. He gave favor to all these people I spoke of, became great. And we know what happened with Moses, right? And the day when Moses went to Goshen, that's where his brother to see his brethren, he saw the children of Israel, their burden and hard labor, and Moses was grieved on their account. Remember, at this time, Moses don't know who God is. He know about all the idols and the strange thing that's going on in Egypt. He don't really know what's going on as far as with God. Christ haven't spoke to Moses yet. And Moses still had a good heart. See, God always chooses to meet. Where we at? And Moses returned to Egypt and came to the house of Pharaoh and came before the king, and Moses bowed down before the king. At this time, the children of Israel was in slavery. Now, we understand that Joseph was king. As you say, well, what happened? Well, when Joseph was king, because outside, once Joseph saved Egypt, if Joseph wouldn't save Egypt, the whole world would have been done, pretty much, because only people had food was Egypt, and Joseph was in charge of that. So Joseph was buying, like, when there was no food, people was bringing their cattle, they were bringing their men, they, you know, everything that they owned, they gold, they silver, everything for food. You can't eat this, but you can eat food. And if my cattle can't eat, then they would die off, and eventually, you know what I'm saying, everything that we own would be destroyed. So what ended up happening? What ended up happening was Joseph was given, outside the king, Joseph was given second in charge of Egypt. The king ended up dying. Now, the way it worked is the king had a son, but he was a pup. Joseph was already older. So Joseph is second in charge. When the king died, his son comes up. You understand? Listen closely. The son comes up, and the king, and he has the throne, because Joseph is not from the bloodline of that particular king, but you know, Joseph was second in charge. The king's son was too young to rule, so Joseph ruled. Now Joseph raised the little boy up. So when the king died, Joseph was in charge, but he was still second in charge. But he already knew how everything worked, so he was already taking care of business. Now the king's son, when he came up, he still left Joseph in charge. Like, look, just keep running your operation, woo, woo, woo. Now, when Joseph died, Joseph did die. He told his children, Ephraim, Manasseh, when I die, take my bones out of Egypt and bury it, you know, with, you know, my father, Abraham and Isaac, you know, because we know Abraham bought a cave, and that's where he wanted to be buried. So now, after Joseph died, you know, Joseph, remember, when Joseph was king, he brought his whole family down. Bro, I'm putting you over here, I'm putting you over here, you over here. Everybody set up, everybody eating, B. It's good. Everybody eating. Joseph died. Now, when he died, the son, he grown now. So now he taking over. And a lot of things he kept the same, but he started undoing a lot of things. So now he got people coming in his ear like, man, the children of Israel, it's a lot of them. Man, what if they decide just, you know, to overthrow us? You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, back in them days, you know, sons was killing their own fathers to throw them for the throne. So what ended up happening is they started taking the people that Joseph put in place and putting them somewhere else. In other words, I'm in America, look, I need you to go to Africa. I want you to run something over there. Here, I'm taking you from out this land, and I'm going to send you over there to Iran. I'm sending you over here. I'm going to send you to Switzerland and you to Italy. He started moving the people in power out. That's what he started doing. Now, when he died, his son came up, because now he got a son. This is the son that put the children of Israel in slavery. So I want y'all to know that. Again, you'll find that in the book of Jasher, right? So the Bible, what the Bible do is give you an overview. It says some things and it just get to the point. When you read these other books that the Bible refer you to, it gives you details. So that's why I'm giving it to you in details. So that's how that works. So when it comes from from Joseph, when Joseph died, the king's son grew up and he still was cool with the people because he grew up with them. But once he died, his son don't know these people like that. He came up, and this is the Pharaoh that you see in the movie The Ten Commandments, right? So this is who Moses is actually talking to. They are in slavery at this point. Sorry. So when Moses returned to Egypt and came to the house of Pharaoh, and he came before the king and bowed down before the king. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, I pray to thee, my Lord, I have come to seek a small request from thee. Turn not away my face empty. And Pharaoh said unto him, speak. Remember, he just left Goshen. He sent his people. They tired. They out of breath. You know what I'm saying? They're exhausted. They hurt. And they working 7 days a week. At this time, there's no days off. You're working 7 days a week. So Moses said, you know what? I'm going to go back and speak for the people on their behalf. So this is where we at now. So now, Moses said unto Pharaoh, let there be unto thy servant the children of Israel who are in Goshen 1 day rest there and from their labor. When they say the children of Israel, as I tell everybody, Israel is not a religion. Israel is a man. Who is Israel? Jacob. Remember I just told you about it? Abraham, Joseph, Jacob, right? Moses. So Jacob's name was changed in the book of Genesis, I believe chapter 37, to Israel, right? Jacob's name was changed to Israel. And so at some point in the Bible, they was called the sons of Israel. And from the sons of Israel, the sons of Jacob, they became Israelites. The ITE only stands for your descendants. As if you go back to my old videos, I'll explain that. When you go to Numbers 26 and 5 in the Bible, it'll show you all the ITEs. ITE means your descendant. So if your name is John, your son name will be, your descendants will be the Johnites. If your name Tom, your descendant is the Tumnites. You understand? In other words, you got the Levites, which is the priesthood of God, the Levites, right? You also got Canaan, which is the cursed seed of Ham, the Canaanites that the Bible speak of. What about Esau? Esau's name was changed to Edom, the Edomites. You understand what I'm saying? Now, reason why it's not the Jacobites, because God changed Jacob's name to Israel. Jacob has some dirt on his name, which is not really dirt. They say he stole a birthright and he tricked Esau out his birthrights, and that wasn't the case. He sold his birthrights, right? And so God said, I'm going to change your name to Israel. So Israel, Israelites. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you move to ITE, that just stands for Israel. That's a person. It's not a religion. So anytime you out here and a person say, I'm an Israelite, all you saying is, my bloodline, my ancestors come from Jacob, Isaac, Abraham. Right? That's all. That's all it is. If you're an Edomite, then your bloodline comes from Esau, the white man. If you saying I'm a Cushite, then you're from the tribe of Ham. You understand what I'm saying? So that's all the ITE is. You know what I mean? I hope, y'all was edified in the way that I explained that. Okay. I'm going to follow y'all. Give me 1 second. So now he's asking for a day off. And the king answered Moses and said, behold, I have lifted up thy face, and this thing I shall grant your request. And Pharaoh ordered, a proclamation to be issued throughout the Egypt and Goshen, saying, to you all the children of Israel, thus says the king, for 6 days you shall do no work. For 6 days you shall do your work and labor, and on the 7th day you shall rest, right? And shall not perform any work. Thus shall you do all the days as the king and Moses, the son of Bethuel, had commanded. And Moses rejoiced at this thing which the king has granted to him. And all the children of Israel did as Moses ordered them. Again, who are the children of Israel? The sons of Jacob. That's it. I can barely see. I'll read the comments as I come back. So if you're still here, I'll read the comments for you. If you got questions or whatever, I'll read it when I get back. When I'm done with this. For this thing was from the Lord to the children of Israel, for the Lord had begun to remember the children of Israel to save them for the sake of their father. And the Lord was with Moses, and his fame went throughout Egypt. See, what Moses did something that haven't been done before. This had never been done in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? You did something big, because we used to work 7 days a week. Now we get a day off. Oh, man, you all right with me, my man. And Moses became great in the eyes of all Egypt, the Egyptians, and in the eyes of all the children of Israel, seeking good for the people, Israel, and speaking words of peace regarding them to the king, right? And when Moses was 18 years old, now he 18 at this time, he desired to see his father and mother, and he went to them to Goshen, right? He went to them in Goshen. And when Moses had come near Goshen, he came to the place where the children of Israel was engaged in work, and he observed their burden, and he saw an Egyptian smiting one of his Hebrew brethren. So at this time, they got taskmasters over the people. In other words, while you working, you got the man over you with a whip, whipping you. Hurry up, kicking you in things in that order. We call them taskmasters. And when the man who was beaten saw Moses, he ran. And when the man who was beaten saw Moses, he ran to him for help. For the man Moses was great, respected in the house of Pharaoh, and said to him, my Lord, attend to me. This Egyptian came to my house in the night, bound me, and came to my wife in the presence, and now he seeks to take away my life, right? So what just happened? Sorry. So what just happened? So he what he telling is, at night, he came in my house, he bound me, and he raped my wife. Now he want to kill me. So I'm thinking he want my wife now. He want me dead. You understand? And so he ran to Moses, right? And told Moses this, right? And when Moses heard this wicked thing, his anger was kindled against the Egyptian, and he turned this way and the other way. And when he saw there was no man there to see him, he smote the Egyptian and hid him in the sand and delivered the Hebrew from the hands of the man that smoked him. So Moses looked, he ain't seen nobody, and he killed the Egyptian, flat out. Remember, Moses was eating good. He eating steak, bread, the finest wine, grapes, getting his back massaged, taking baths, get to work out. He's sleeping real good. So Moses was strong. He was real strong. The Egyptians, they did a lot of work. They wasn't eating right. They was in the sun, so they wasn't as strong as the Egyptians. Moses was eating better than the Egyptians. So Moses was strong, you understand? So he was able to kill this man. And the Hebrew went to his house, and Moses returned to his home and went forth and came back to the king. So now Moses back in Egypt, he went to the king's house. And when a man had returned home, he thought of putting his wife away. So now, back then, if somebody sleep with your wife, you can no longer sleep with her. That's just a tradition from when Reuben slept with Bilhah, his father Jacob concubine. Remember, Rachel and Leah, they had servants, which was Bilhah, which Jacob, when Rachel died after giving birth to Benjamin, Bilhah kind of became his main squeeze. And when she was taking a bath, the son Reuben, he peeping, he see her taking a bath, she went in the room, she drunk, he going down and had sex with her. When Jacob found out about it, he cursed Reuben, but he couldn't touch Bilhah no more, and that made him real mad, because now she's defiled. And when you read the laws in Leviticus, it'll tell you, you know what I'm saying, don't lay with um, your mother-in-law, or your don't lay in the bed where your father laying, you know. So that was kind of during this time. And keep in mind, this before that happened, before Deuteronomy. This before Deuteronomy. So at this time, it's not really a thing. You know what I'm saying? But it was kind of a tradition. It wasn't in law yet. There's no laws right now. There's no 10 commandments. There's no laws. Where there was no sins. If there's no sin, there's no crime. Let me rephrase that. If there's no law, there's no sin. Sorry. So, and when the man came home, he thought repudiating his wife, for it was not right in the house of Jacob for any man to come to his wife after she has been defiled. In other words, you lay with my girl, you lay with my wife, I can't touch you no more. Even if you was raped, I can't sleep with you no more. That's, you know, again, that come from Jacob, and from Jacob it came down from when Reuben slept with his wife Bilhah, his concubine. And the woman went and told her brothers, and the woman brothers sought to slay him, and he fled to his house and escaped. So she told her brother, look, he don't want to touch me no more. He said he done with me, and they finna kill Buddy. They finna kill him. So he escaped that too. Now, and on the second day, Moses went forth to his brethren, and he saw, and behold, two men was quarreling. And he said to the wicked one, why does thou smite thy neighbor? Quarreling mean arguing, and they were disputing. They was, you know, I guess going back and forth. And Moses, like, you know, said something to him. Now, and he answered him and said to him, who has set thee for a prince and a judge over us? Like, who made you judge and prince? All right. Does thou think to slay me as thou didst slay the Egyptian? And Moses was afraid, because surely this thing was known. How did the people know? Remember, Moses looked this way and that way. Then he killed the Egyptian and hid him under the sand. So how do you know that I killed the Egyptian? Where would you get this from? Where you think he got this from? How about the man? I'm gonna go back to the comments after this. How about the man that Moses helped? How about he went to run his mouth? It don't say that, but I'm more than sure that this happened. Like, yeah, man, the Egyptian came, man. You know, black people talk. Yeah, man, the Egyptian came, man. Man, dude, man, he was raping my wife, man. But why Moses came? Moses killed dude. Moses killed dude and hit him in the sand, bro. You know, so now this getting out, because surely we know that the man dead at this point. You know, his peers don't see him. And now the word started to travel that Moses did it. So now when Moses come back the second day, he see two other people arguing, and he like, man, y'all need to chill it out, bro. What, you gonna kill me like you did, buddy? That's what you on? So he like, damn, how you know this? So now Moses like, wow, I thought didn't nobody see. I'm telling you who went to go run their mouth. Buddy went to go run his mouth. I'm sure of that. I'm sure Buddy went to go run his mouth, because this thing now is known. And Pharaoh heard of this affair, and he ordered Moses to be slain. So God sent his angel and appeared unto Pharaoh in the likeness of a captain of the guard. And the angel of the Lord took the sword from the hand of the captain of the guard, and took his head off with it, for the likeness of the captain of the guard was turned unto the likeness of Moses. And the angel of the Lord took hold of the right hand of Moses, and brought him forth from Egypt, and placed him from within the borders of Egypt, a distance of 40-day journey. Now, you know what? Me reading that, I just thought about something. He said he took his hand and brought him out of Egypt for a day of 40-day journey. So it ain't that Moses it took Moses 40 days to get up out of Egypt. He said the angel took his hand and brought him out of Egypt into the 40 days of a 40-day journey. So did he not do that with Lot when he was destroying Solomon and Gomorrah? What ended up happening? He took Lot, because Lot was procrastinating. So he took Lot and brought him out the land, because this land about to be destroyed. And Lottie gagging around. Oh, man, let me get my shoes. Hold on, man. Let me get this coat. Hold on, man. I need this vape. Look, bro, it's time to go. We've had destroyed Solomon and Gomorrah right now. It's time to go. Let's go. And so while he procrastinated, the angels took him and brought him out the city. And said, don't look back. And when Lot's wife looked back, she turned to a pillar of salt. You understand what I'm saying? That's where we at with it. I'm going to read the comments when I'm done. So if you still around, I'll definitely get back to it. I'll definitely follow everybody. Just give me a second. I'm almost done. So now, Moses is out of Egypt, because if Moses so happens to be walking out of Egypt, he's not in the land, they could surely come on the horses and chariots. Don't nobody know where Moses is at. Moses is gone. He out the city. So if you looking for him after 3 weeks, you still ain't gonna find him. That's a 21-day journey. You still ain't found Moses. Moses is gone. He's out of Egypt. God brought him out. An angel brought him out, which is good. You know what I'm saying? Which is good. Where we at, y'all? Let me try to get this thing over with, because I got something else I got to do. And Aaron, his brother, alone remained in the land of Egypt, and he prophesied to the children of Israel, saying, thus said the Lord, God of your ancestors, throw away each man the abomination of his eyes, and do not defile yourself with the idols of Egypt. So now you got the people in Egypt doing like the Egyptians doing. You know what I'm saying? Now, these are the same people that's going to be going to the wilderness. So already before they hit the wilderness, they're dealing with idols. They doing abominations, things that, the Lord forbid. And Aaron prophesied, and what they do. And the children of Israel rebelled and would not hearken to Aaron at that time. They're like, man, shut up, man. We ain't trying to hear you, bro. Who is you? You ain't nobody. Move on. We don't do what we want to do. As they said in Jeremiah chapter 44, we'll do whatsoever we want to do. Right? Now, and the Lord thought to destroy them. Well, it was not that the Lord remembered the covenant which he had made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In those days, the hand of Pharaoh continued to be severe against the children of Israel, and he crushed and oppressed them until the time when God set forth his word and took notice of him. Now, the more they rebel against God, the more he going to allow Pharaoh to put his hands on them. It's just that simple. And it was in those days that there was a great war between the children of Cush and the children of the east, and Aaron, and they rebelled against the king of Cush, in whose hand they were. Who is the children of the east? Who is the children of the east? The children of the east. Let's get that. So, right now, the children of the east will be considered, boom. Who is the children of the east? They will be Abraham. Actually, let me go to Esau. I'm sorry. So let's get it. So the children of the east will be Abraham children. Come on, Esau. Let me get it. Trying to pull it up for y'all. All right, here we go. So when you go to the book of Genesis, right? Go to Genesis 25:2, right? And when you go to Genesis 25:2, I'm going to read. Yeah. Then again, get over here. It say, then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimrah and Joskin and Medan and Median and Ashbach and Shan. Right? So I'm saying that to say what? Abraham, his wife Sarah, she's dead. She's unalive, right? Sarah is unalive. So Abraham took another wife, and he had 6 children with them, and he sent them off towards the mountain. So them the children of the east. Them the children of the east. Them Abraham descendants, because where it say Median, Median, that's who Moses will end up running to one of their descendants, the daddy, and marry his daughter Zachariah. So that's the children of the east, you know. Now, and Cacanias, king of Cush, went forth with all the children of Cush, a people numerous of the sand. And he went to fight against Amram and the children of the east, to bring them under suggestion. And when Cacanias went out, he left Balaam the magician with the 2 sons to guard the city, and the Lord saw the people of the land. So let me see. And Cacanias this room before, and he left Balaam the magician with his 2 sons. Oh, okay, so I got you. So remember Balaam. Remember saying that Moses wanted to put hands and feet on him. So Balaam gone. He went to Cush, right? With Cacanias. Cacanias is an African. He's a Cushite, which is from the bloodline of Ham. So he's one of Ham's sons' descendants, a Cushite. Balaam, remember I said that he prophesied against Moses when Moses was a baby and Moses was on the stakeout looking to get him. Now, this dude, Balaam, the same magician, when Moses came back and he threw the rod on the ground and turned to a snake, and they threw their rod on the ground, turned to a snake, that's Balaam. When you watch the movie 10 Commandments, once again. He gone, he left Egypt because Moses wanted to put hands on him because he run his mouth, he a snake. So now he's out here near Cacanias, and him and his 2 sons, remember, they left. They fled Egypt. So now he's out there with this king called Cacanias. Right? Now Cacanias went to go fight against Abraham bloodline, the children of the east. The children of the east is Keturah's children by Abraham once Sarah died after having Isaac and Ishmael. Sarah's dead. So now Sarah is unalive. Abraham got him another wife and got 6 children by her. Them the children of the east. So, and Cacanias, king of Cush, went forth with the children of Cush, a people numbers of the sand, and he went to fight against Amram and the children of the east to bring them under suggestion. And when Cacanias went out, he left Balaam the magician, who fled from Egypt, with his 2 sons to guard the city, and the Lord saw the people of the land. So Cacanias went to Amram and the children of the east, and he fought against them and smote them, and they all fell down wounded before Cacanias and his people. So he conquered that. And he took many of them captive. So now he got slaves, and he brought them under suggestions as at first. And he encamped upon their land to take tribute from them as usual. So now he posted up, they got to bring him money, taxes, food, whatever. He working his number right now. I can't really see, y'all. Let me see. All right. Give me a second. And he took many of them captive, okay. And Balaam, the son of Beor, when the king of Cush had left him to guard the city and the poor of the city, he rose up and advised with the people of the land to rebel against the king Cacanias, not to let him enter into the city when he should come home. And the people of the land hearkened to him, and they swore to him and made him king over them and his 2 sons for captain of the army. Now, remember, the people always run the land, right? So if the people say something, that's what it is. Hey, we want a king. That's what they say about Saul when Samuel said, God is your king. They said, oh, we want a king that we can see. It's always the people. And God said, give them what they want, but give them the stipulation what will happen when they ask for this new king. They say, okay, we still got a king. So that's a different story that I go over now. Now, these people voted the king out of his own palace, right? This guy, he left in charge. Man, I want you to watch over my land, you and your sons. I'm going to go fight this war. I'm going to come back, double back. When he leave, he said back like, man, look, Joe, y'all vote me in. I'll do this, I'll do that. The way he got y'all doing, man, I won't even do it like this. So he claimed, because he's already next to the king. So, you know, the people are like, yeah, we'll do that. You know what I mean? I'm individually might not pay for it. We as a whole might pay for it, but, you know, so that's kind of what's going on right now. Check this out. And the people of the land hearkened, and they made him king. So they rose up and raised the wall of the city at the two corners, and they built an exceedingly strong building. Make sure I'm still going. And at the third corner, they dug ditches without number between the city and the river which surrounded the whole land of Cush, and they made the water of the river burst forth out. So now they got a whole bunch of ditches. So if you try to come, you'll fall in a ditch. And they got snakes and all types of stuff in these ditches. And they put water there. And in the third corner of the city, okay, at the fourth corner, they collected numerous serpents by their incarnation and enchantments, and they fortified the city and dwelt therein, and no one went out or in before them. Remember, they dealing with Balaam. Balaam is a magician. So now he got snakes and serpents all through the land. You know what I'm talking about? So if you try to come this way, you'll fall in a ditch. If you go this way, it's water coming. You're going to drown. If you come this way, it's snakes everywhere. So you can't even get into the palace. Nobody went out the palace. Nobody came in the palace. Right? Check it. See, they're not going to give you all this here. I'm going to give you, you know, some deep inside knowledge. Where we at? All right. And Cacanias fought against Amram and the children of the east, and he subdued them as before, and they gave him their usual tribute. And he went and returned to his land. So he on his way back home. He think he better go home with a good welcome, but that's not the case. And when Cacanias, the king of Cush, approached his city, and all the captains of the forces with him, they lifted up their eyes and saw that the walls of the city was built up and greatly elevated. So the men was astonished at this. And they said one to the other, it is because they saw that we were delayed in battle and were greatly afraid of us. Therefore have they done this thing and raised the city walls and fortified them so that the king of Canaan might not come in battle against them. What is he saying? He's saying by them being gone for so long, he thought that they got defeated. And so they wasn't coming back, Cacanias, but is that the king of Canaan was going to come and purpose their cities. So he's saying, well, we've been gone for a long time, so they thinking that we got defeated. And so, and you know, to be on the safe side, they raised up the bridges and they made all these things because they didn't know if we was coming back or not. But, you know, it's cool. You know, we here, I'm home now. So the king said, and the troops approached the city door, and they looked up, and behold, all the gates of the city was closed, and they called out to the signals, saying, open to us that we may enter the city. But the signal refused to open to them by the orders of Balaam, the magicians, their king. They suffered them not to enter the city. So while the original king, Cacanias, saying, look, open the gates. Balaam saying, no, don't open the gates, though. Don't nobody come in, nobody go out. Remember, they made him king. So they raised a battle with them opposite of the gate, and 130 men army of Cacanias fell on one day because they got the traps. And on the next day, they continued to fight, and they fought at the side of the river. They they endure to pass, but were not able. So some of them sank in the pits and died. Remember, he got all these traps up. He got the water here, he got the snakes here, he got the pits over here. And when they came to the place of the ditches, the waters revolved by the mill, and 200 men upon 10 rafts was drowned. So they trying to get in with drafts and all that. They drowned. So they can't get in the city. And on the third day, they came to fight at the side where the serpents were, but they could not approach there, for the serpents slew of them 170 men, and they ceased fighting against Cush, and they besieged Cush for 9 years. No one came in and out. So for 9 years, this dude Balaam, you know, for 9 years, this dude Balaam, he became king of Cush, and he got Cacanaz out in the wilderness that took the man land, right? This is like you leave somebody in your house and you leave, like, you know, this is my best friend, you my man's. Bro, I got to get ready to take care of some business, man. Why don't you watch over my wife and kids, bro? You know what I'm saying? I'll be gone for about a week. Oh, I got you, bro. You my man. You know what I'm saying? Anybody come in here, boy, I kill for you. All right, cool. Good looking. You know what I'm saying? You go out of town, you take care of some business. You come back. It's a new lock on the door. Your wife, like, we done. You know what I'm saying? Give you the divorce papers. And you got Buddy laying in your crib, the same man that you told to watch over my wife and kids. Now, he done seduced your wife. He laying up with her. You know what I'm saying? She locked the doors on you. Y'all changed the lock. You coming there, she calling the police like he harassing us. Buddy done, you know, that's kind of what happened with Balaam, with Cacanaz. You know what I'm saying? He thought he was cool with him, and he kind of stabbed him in the back. That's where we at. Where we at, y'all? And at that time, the war and the siege were against Cush. Moses fled from Egypt, from Pharaoh, who sought to kill him for having slain the Egyptian. And Moses was 18 years old when he fled from Egypt from the presence of Pharaoh, and he fled and escaped to the camp of Cacanaz, which at the time was besieging Cush. And Moses was 9 years in the camp of Cacanaz, king of Cush, all the time that they were besieging Cush, and Moses went out and came in with them. So Moses came into the camp, because remember, the angel took Moses out the land. So now Cacanaz, as I told you, the guy Balaam, you know what I'm saying, he did a number on him. I answer all questions when I'm done. So now this dude, Cacanaz, Balaam did a number on Cacanaz and took his kingdom. So now they just out in the field trying to figure it out. They homeless, they ain't got nowhere to go. They ain't got the wives, children, nothing. It's been 9 years, and Moses fled. So now Moses coming from Egypt, and Cacanaz already got put out his home. They collide. They met up. You understand? Now, listen. And the king and the prince, all the fighting men, they love Moses. Remember, Moses got favor with them too. For he was a great and worthy, and statue was like a noble lion. His face was like the sun, and his strength was like that of a lion. And he was counselor to the king. So now Moses is the counselor to the king, no longer Balaam. Remember, Moses just came from ruling out of where? Moses was ruling out of Egypt. So he already knew how to run these operations. So now he counseled to the king, look, this, do that. He already experienced. And at the end of the 9 years, Cacanaz was seized with a mortal disease, and his illness prevailed over him, and he died on the 7th day. So his servants embalmed him. They embalmed him and carried him and buried him opposite the city the opposite the city gate to north of the land of Egypt. And they built over him an elegant, strong, and high building, and they placed great stones below. So Moses was with this guy for 9 years, and he ended up the king, the original king, ended up dying. I can't take that. The original king ended up dying, right? And the king and the king. Stop calling my phone. And the king scribe engraved upon those stones all the might of their king Cacanias and all his battles which he had fought. Behold, they are written there unto this day. So it's telling you that the things that they wrote back then is still there right now today, to say that what's in this book is true. Now, after the death of Cacanias, king of Cush, it grieved his men and troops greatly on account of the war. So they said one to the other, give us counsel what we are to do at this time, as we have resided in the wilderness 9 years away from their home, away from our home. If we say we will fight against the city, many of us will fall wounded or killed, and if we remain there in the siege, we shall also die. For now all the kings of Amram and the children of the east will hear that our king is dead, and they will attack us suddenly in a hostile manner, and they will fight against us and leave no remnant of us left. See, back in the day, you really kind of needed a king, somebody to go before you, because even when you read the book of Judith, you know, once the king, I think, what's the dude's name? Was it Hermias something? But when you read the book of Judith, once Judith came and cut his head off, and the children of Israel, Judah, they got to run into the camps. When they went in there and they saw that their king head was missing, they just went berserk, like they didn't know what to do, as if they didn't prepare for war. So back in them days, without a king, it's like the men, they needed somebody to say, charge, do this and do that. As long as the king standing behind them, they felt, you know, protected. But once they didn't have a king behind them, man, it's like they didn't know what to do. For now, all the kings of Amram and all the children of the east will hear that our king is dead, and they will attack us suddenly in the hostile manner, and they will fight against us and leave no remnant of us. Now, therefore, let us go and make a king over us, and let us remain in the siege until the city is delivered up to us. And they wish to choose on that day a man for king from the army of Cacanias, and they found no object of their choice like Moses to reign over them. And they hastened and stripped off each man his garment and cast them upon the ground, and they made a great heap and placed Moses thereon. And they rose up and blew with a trumpet and called out before him and said, may the king live, may the king live. And all the people and nobles swore unto him to give him for a wife. Now this is the Cushite. I want y'all to listen. This is the Cushite. When you read the book of Numbers 12:1, they tell you that Aaron and Miriam spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian wife, right? Let me get that. Let's get it. You're not going to get that because remember, they tell you Moses married Zechariah, right? Zechariah is not a Cushite. So when you read the book of Numbers, is it 12:1? Here it is right here. It tells you here, and this is the Bible, and Miriam, right? And Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, had the Lord indeed spoke only about Moses? Had he not spoken also about us? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all men which was upon the face of the earth. And the Lord spoke suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron, unto Miriam, come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of congregation. And they three came out. And the Lord came down in a pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Mary, and they both came forth. Remember, when God talked back in the day, it was thunder. God don't talk like me. God don't talk like you. When God speak, it's thunder. In other words, and he said, hear me now. Hear my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and he will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him I will speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches, and the similitude of the Lord shall he behold. Wherefore then were you not afraid to speak against my servant? And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from out the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprosy, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Now, let me say something about that. When you watch the movie, The Ten Commandments, right? In the movie Ten Commandments, they don't show that part, right? Why won't they show that part? Because Moses, the Levites are black. If I turn to leopards, you'll see that I'm white, from black to white. Also, when God told Moses put his hand in his, in his what you call that? His robe, your garment. When Moses put his hand in there and brought it out, it was white. He said, put it back in there again. When he put it back in there, it came out as black. They don't show that on Ten Commandments because they got the people in the Ten Commandments as white people. They left that out. So you leaving out Miriam turn to white leprosy, and you left Moses taking his hand out and it was turning white and turned back and it become black. Them two key parts that you should have put in there, but because you didn't put black people to play the part, you had to leave that part out. I didn't want to say that much. All right, so now we here. Moses is king. Moses is king. All right. And all the people and nobles were unto him to give him for a wife Adana. That's who the Cushite lady is. Adana, the queen, the Cushite wife of Cacanias, and they made Moses king over them on that day. So they gonna give Moses a Cushite wife, and that's what Aaron and Miriam was mad at that. Which this correspond. This answer the questions in the book of Numbers 12 and 1. And all the people of Cush issued a proclamation on that day, saying, every man must give something to Moses of what is in his possession. And they spread out a sheet upon the heap, and every man eats until it's something of what he have, once a gold earring and the other a coin. Also a honest stone, whatever. They telling you what all they gave him. And Moses took all the silver and gold, all the vessels, all the bellyum, honest stone which all the children of Cush had given to him, and he placed them among his treasures. And Moses reigned over the children of Cush that day, and the place of Cacanias, the Cushite. Now, there we go. So, it tells you in the 55th year of the reign of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that is in the number, in the 157th year of the Israelite going down into Egypt, reigned Moses in Cush. Moses was 27 years old when he began to reign over Cush, and 40 years did he reign. So let's try to do some numbers here. Moses left at 18, right? 18. At 18, Moses left. Now, And 9 years he was in the wilderness with Cacanias, right? 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, right? I need to do these numbers because I'm trying to show y'all something. I might have to come back and do it because I don't want to take up too much time. But Moses was 27 years old when he began to reign over Cush, and 40 years did he reign. So from 18, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 27. Okay, so he's 27. So that's the 9 years. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So in 9 years, he became king, right? So 27 plus what? They say he reigned 40 years. He'll be 67 years old. You get me? I have to show you something. 67 years old. He's 27, he reigned 40 years. 40 plus 27 is 67, right? He left Egypt at 80. Now, what ended up happening, because I'm going to wrap it up. So what ended up happening was Moses reigned for 40 years. So from 27, he reigned 40 years, 67. Moses ended up going to, he ended up getting into the Cacanias, he got into the kingdom, right? He did something to where he got some ostriches or whatever to run where all the serpent was at, and they ran. He haven't fed them in like, I don't know, 2 weeks, something like that. They was real hungry, and when he sent them out to where the serpents at, they started running over eating all the serpents. So now they can go through that land and they can go inside, the council and fight against Balaam. When Balaam seen that Moses and them was coming in there, him and his son, they broke and they ran, right? Just left all the people and ran. Where did they go? He ran back to Egypt. So Balaam ran back to Egypt. Now, on his way back to Egypt, he was welcome there again, right? Now, Moses was there. The Cushite, Moses wouldn't touch her. He wouldn't have sex with her, do anything with her. So she spoke to the people. Say, hey, my son, Cacaniah's son, is older now. He's older. And by right, he should be king. You got this Israelite over here who won't touch me. He's not from our bloodline stock. He got to go. So the people kind of, okay, they hear him out, but they love Moses. So they didn't kill Moses or nothing. But what they did, they gave him a lot of stocks, gold, you know what I'm saying, food, cattle, whatever. And they sent him on about his way with a proper send-off. Like, man, we love you, Moses. It's only right, man. They hugged each other, whatever. So now Moses leaving here. And that's when he ended up going to find Zechariah at the well, where they tell you straight about in the book of the Bible. Now, listen carefully. So now when Moses get there and he fought off the men, now the father Jethro is talking with Moses. And Moses like, yeah, I was king over here and they sent me out. He didn't believe it. He thought that Moses escaped from them. So what he did, he had Moses thrown in jail. Now Moses thrown in jail for 10 years, right? Listen, for 10 years. But the wife, Zacharias, he kept coming down there. She'd feed him this, give him water, bread, and her father forgot. So she say, hey, when's you going to let Buddy out? Nobody came from him. Apparently, he was telling the truth. Nobody's looking for this guy. So, oh, yeah, bring him out. So now he bring him out. He bring him out. It's a stick. Let me get into that because, I just want to kind of throw that in here. So what happened was, let me try to get to this piece right here. All right, so we're here. So let's try to get in here. And they took, okay, and when Raul had heard the words of Moses, okay, and Moses relayed to Raul that he had fled from Egypt and that he reigned 40 years over Cush, and that afterwards they had taken the government from him and had sent him away in peace with honor and presence. So this is what he's telling the Zechariah father. And Raul, where you at? Hold on. All right. I'm sorry. And when Raul had heard the words of Moses, Raul said within himself, I will put this man into prison house, whereby I shall, see, I shall go holler at the children of Cush, for he has fled from them. And they took and put Moses into prison. And Moses was in prison 10 years. And while Moses was in prison, Zechariah, the daughter of Raul, took pity over him and supported him with bread and water all the time. And, and all the children of Israel were yet in the land of Egypt, serving the Egyptians in the manner of hard work. And the hand of Pharaoh continued severity over the children of Cush in those days. Now, Moses in jail for 10 years, right? We just getting the numbers right. Let me see something. Because now they talking about Pharaoh. I'm just trying to get to this before I close. And at the end of 10 years, which was the first year of the reign of Pharaoh over Egypt and over his father, Zechariah said to her father, Raul, no person inquires or seeks after the Hebrew man who did bind, who you did put in prison now for 10 years. Now, therefore, if it seemed good in thy sight, let us send and see whether he is still living or dead. And her father knew not that she had supported him. So she said, look, buddy been in jail for like 10 years, bro. Ain't nobody come looking for him. Let's go see he's still dead. But she knows she been feeding Moses bread and water. So she know he's not dead. And Raul, her father, answered and said unto her, has ever such a thing happened that a man should be shut in prison without food for 10 years that he should live? And Zechariah answered her father, saying, surely thou hast heard that the God of the Hebrew is great and awful and does wonderful things for them at times. Okay. And it was him who delivered Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans and Isaac from the sword of his father and Jacob from the angel of the Lord who wrestled with him in the fork of Jabbok. So that was him, Ur of the Chaldeans. That was Abraham when I say that he tried to take Abraham's wife, Ur of the Chaldeans, right? So, and the thing seemed good in Raul, and he did according to the word of his daughter, and sent to the dungeon to assert, to grab Moses, that sent to the dungeon to ascertain what became of Moses, to see is he still living or not. And he saw, and behold, the man Moses was living in the dungeon, standing up on his feet, praising and praying to God of his ancestor. And Raul commanded Moses to be brought out of the dungeon, so that they shaved him, and he changed his prison garment and ate bread. And afterwards, Moses went into the garden of Raul, which was behind the house, and there he prayed unto the Lord, his God, who had done mighty wonders for him. Now, I'm going to get into where that stick come from. Remember that stick that y'all always Saint Moses with? I'm going to show you where that come from. And afterwards, and it was where he was praying, he looked opposite to him, and behold, a sapphire stick was placed in the ground, which was planted in the midst of the garden. And he approached the stick, and he looked, and behold, the name of the Lord God of hosts was engraved therein, written and developed upon the stick. And he read it and stretched forth his hand and plucked it out from like a forest tree from the thicket, and the stick was in his hand. Right. So now Moses, he out of jail. He went to the back of the house and he started praying. And while he praying, he looked over there and he sees the stick in the ground, a sapphire. So Moses went to grab and pick the stick up. And this is the stick with which all the works of God was performed, after he had created heaven and earth and the host of them, seas, river, and all their fishes. And when God had driven Adam from the Garden of Eden, he took the stick in his hand and went and tilled the ground from which this stick was taken. Now they showing you where the stick come from. The stick come from Adam on down to Moses, right? Listen. So we know that Adam tilled the stick. First of all, God made the heavens with the stick. Now Adam got the stick and he tilled the ground, right? And it said, and the stick came down to Noah and was given to Shem and his descendants until it became until the hand of Abraham, the Hebrew. And when Abraham had given all he had to his son Isaac, he also gave him the stick. And when Jacob had fled to that's where he went to, Pandamra, he took it into his hand, and when he returned to his father, he had left it behind. He had not left it behind. Also, when he went down to Egypt, he took it into his hand and gave it to Joseph, one portion above his brother, for Jacob had taken it by force from his brother Esau, right? So now, when Jacob, remember, Jacob went to Egypt because there was, I told him he took all his family down to Egypt. And they tell you that Jacob went to Egypt and all of them was 70 because Joseph was already there. So now he got the stick. This is the stick that you seen Moses with. So we know God got the stick. He made heaven. Then when Adam was kicked out the Garden of Eden, he gave Adam the stick. So now after Adam, the stick went down to Noah. Noah gave it to Shem. Shem down to his descendants. It came to the hand of Abraham. From Abraham gave it to the stick to Isaac. Isaac gave the stick to Jacob. Jacob took the stick and gave it to Joseph. Remember, Joseph came over Egypt. And that put him one step above his brother. And after the death of Joseph, the nobles of Egypt came into the house of Joseph, and the stick came into the hands of Raoul the Midnight. And when he had went out of Egypt, he took it in his hand and planted in his garden. All the mighty men of the Canaanites tried to pluck it when they endeavored to get Zachariah, his daughter, but they was unsuccessful. So when the stick remained planted in the garden of Raoul until he came who had a right to take it, and when Raoul saw the stick in the hand of Moses, he wondered at it, and he gave him his daughter Zachariah as a wife. And at the time, Baal Chana, son of Atabar, king of Edom, was buried in the house in the land of Edom. So let me break it down. So now we got the stick that you seen Moses with, right? That ain't no any stick. That stick comes straight from the heavens. God used that stick, Christ, to make the heavens, earth, bird, the sea, land, everything. This is where the stick come from. When Moses sent the stick had the name of, I'm almost done. I'm gonna answer questions right after this. Hold on. Right after this. God saw the stick, gave it to, after the heavens, it went down to Adam. Adam got kicked out the garden for disobeying God, eating up the tree of life of good and evil, and he tilled the ground with it. From there, the stick went to Noah. After the flood, Noah gave it to Shem. Remember, Abraham came to stay with Shem. So now from Shem, Abraham have it. So now Abraham, this is the stick that you see Abraham with. Abraham got that stick and he gave it to Isaac. Isaac, he took the stick and gave it to Jacob. Jacob went to the land with Laban, where he went to get his wife Leah and Rachel. And he took the stick back with him. And then when he went to Egypt, he left his land because it's a famine. When I say he went down to Egypt and they was living real good while Joseph was king, he gave it to Joseph. Now, Joseph got the stick. Now, long Joseph got the stick, Joseph ended up dying. Now, when Joseph died, a lot of people came in and they started taking things, gold, jewelry, silver, food, cattle, and he sent the stick there. So Raoul, he took the stick and he took it back with him. And now, the stick is in the ground. So now the stick is in the ground and everybody come, they trying to get this stick out. Now this stick is stuck in concrete. So that's what you see when you see a lot of these Bethel, movies where only a certain person could grab the stick from out the stone. You see a sword in the stone, and everybody try to get the sword out, but they can't get it out. And then some little dude come and he just grabbed the sword and raised it up, and he say he's the one. This is where they get that from. They got that from the Bible story. It happened with Moses. So now Moses, after being thrown in prison for 10 years, now he come. And what he do, he see the stick. He don't know the history of it. He just grab it. So when Raul said, he like, bro, they've been trying to get this stick out for 20, 30 years, and you just come and get it? You're the one. Whoever grabbed this stick, get the daughter. And so when he took the stick, that's when Moses was given a wife, Zachariah, because whoever get the stick, get to marry my daughter. And that's how that ended up happening. Remember, Zachariah was the daughter of a Midnight. He wasn't Adana, the wife of Kakanaz, king of Cush. You with me? Well, I've been on. Man, I've been on here. Yeah, it's about the time to close down. But I wanted to go through that. I'm glad I got it over with because I've been procrastinating. Now, again, I'm gonna get into the at this point, let's do some adding. Moses left because when I was away, the guy said Moses was never king, right? And I'm going to kill that theory right now. He said Moses was never king. He said Moses left Egypt, and the Bible states that Moses went and he went straight to his father Jethro or Raul house, you know what I mean? And God called on him and he went to Egypt, right? Now, this book said that Moses was 18 when he left. He went to Kakanaz, stayed 9 years. Moses is 27 years old. Moses, at 27 years old, became king because Kakanaz died. He reigned over Cush for 40 years. That will make him 67 years old. Now, when Moses was 67, they voted him out the king, and Moses left, and he went. Now you get into the story of the Bible to where he met the daughters, and he chased the men off and got the water and went to set with his father. During that time, when Moses went there, the father heard Moses' story, like y'all was king of Cush, this and that, and he thought that Moses escaped from them. So he held Moses captive, put him in prison for 10 years. That will make Moses how old? Moses is now 77 years old. Moses get out of jail, took the stick, and married a daughter. Moses had 2 children by his wife. We know each child is this a year and that's a year. So that will make him 79 years old. Now God called Moses. Moses is 80 years old. And we all know that when Moses went back to Egypt, Moses was 80 years old to go speak for God. Now he spoke for God. He delivered the children out of Egypt. They're in the wilderness. Moses stayed in the wilderness for 40 years and died at 120 years old. That's the story. Can't nobody dispute it. You have to know this Bible when you're dealing with stuff like that. You're not going to get that from anywhere else. So yes, Moses was a king of Cush, and them the numbers. So when people say, well, the Bible say Moses left Egypt, he went straight there. I'm in America right now, correct? I'm in America. If I leave Chicago, right, and I go to Florida, am I still in America or not? If I leave Chicago and go to down south, I'm just down south. I'm still in America. So when Moses left Egypt, the book say that they took Moses out of Egypt, the angels, and put him in a journey of 40 days journey. Because if he would have walked, they would have caught up with Moses and killed him. Because remember, he's on the run because he killed an Egyptian man and Pharaoh want him dead. So the angels took him out like they took Lot out, the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, and placed him in a whole nother place. Right? It also happened with Moses. So they can't find Moses. So this is where Moses is at. Moses is in the wilderness for 9 years. And from 9 years, he reigned for 40 years. So they tell you Moses was 18. 18 plus 9 is 27. He reigned 40 years, 67. He went to go meet Zachariah, got thrown in jail for 10 years, 77. He came home, he got out of jail, got the stick, got a wife, had 2 kids. That's a year, that's a year. He's 79. God talked to him. At 80 years old, he go to Egypt, free the children of Israel, and what you have. He did 40 years in wilderness. He died at 120 years old. So when they telling you in the Bible, Moses left Egypt and he went there, he was still in Egypt. Nobody never say he was out of Egypt. Egypt have many places like America. Didn't it say he, you know what I'm saying, that he left Egypt, went to Africa? No. Everything still happened in Egypt. He's in Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, this way, that way. He just wasn't where he was at. I can leave Chicago right now, and I can go to Kankakee, or I can go to Springfield, or I can go to Champaign. It's still in Illinois. It's just not Chicago. Champaign, 3-4 hours out. Springfield, 3 hours out. You know what I'm saying? They got areas in Illinois that's 6-hour drive. You know what I'm talking about? I'm still in Illinois. I'm just not in Chicago. So when they take Egypt, you know what I'm saying, you got to expand your mind and understand what they're talking about. So with that being said, man, you know, hey, I thank everybody for chiming in. You know, I'm going to answer some questions on this other app, you know, and kind of go from there. But, you know, next, I'm going into the book of Jubilees. In this book here, I'm going to tell you why God kept telling the children of Israel to keep going back to the land of Canaan. Again, as I explained in my other video, when Noah got off the boat, it was only Noah, his 3 sons, his wife, they 3 wives, 8 people in all, along with the animals, along with the fallen angels that hid in the cave while the flood was there. Now, when they get off, there's no more people on earth. Everybody else is gone. It's only Noah, his sons, his wife, and their wives, and the animals, right? Outside the fallen angels. Noah decided to divide the world between his 3 sons, the whole world. I'm giving you this your portion of the world, and this your portion. You don't go on his lot, you don't go on his lot, and you gonna go over there. They all swore to Noah and they swore to God. And so what ended up happening was Canaan ended up going on Shem's lot after he already promised not to go on his land. In other words, in a nutshell, I got right now 3 sons, okay? I get 1 son, America, I get the other one, Africa, and I get the other one, Iran. Now, the guy that I get Iran, he don't like Iran. He want to go to America. But he already swore to me and God that he won't go on anybody else's property. That's what Canaan did. He ended up going on Shem property, what they call a lot. And not only he went there, he populated there. He had kids, and now years and years going by, and now they starting to grow. So by the time Abraham is born, Abraham don't have no knowledge of this, although Shem did raise him. They don't state that Shem did tell him that this would be your land. But Shem did teach him a lot of things as far as, you know, not to deal with idols and, you know what I'm saying, how to deal with God in that format. So what ended up happening was God knew the promise that was made in heaven. And that's why he go tell Abraham, get up for Haran and go to Canaan. That's what I'm saying, the promised land. That's your land. That's why God kept telling Abraham to go there, because he knew what Ham's son Canaan did. And he said, if anybody land on anybody else's land, you will be cursed. And which seed is cursed? Canaan is the cursed seed, right? Man, it's all, hey, it's crazy, but I'm going to try to go into that one before I finish doing the rest of my lessons, man. But, you know, y'all chime me every day, man, and we're going to do it like that. You know what I mean? I'm going to log out right here. I stayed a little longer than I should have, but I'm glad I got it out. I love teaching. You know what I'm saying? Till next time, Shalom.